Are women actually better communicators? The men that I have talked to and the men that I see in the comment section below, they're going to tell you that they can't understand their woman. They'll tell you that they do not understand whatever it is that she's thinking, and oftentimes he feels like he has to be a mind reader. And so he comes to this place of trying to have a communication, he's trying to talk to his woman, and nothing ever gets resolved. And it always spins out of control. And so there's always this idea that women are better communicators. They always want to talk about their feelings, they always want to talk it out. But is talking actually solve the issue? Is talking actually communication? Well, in this video, we're going to solve this issue. We're going to talk about this a little bit more, and we're going to bust this myth, or at least open up the conversation of, are women or men better communicators? My name is Ed Baxter, and I help guys in betrayal situations. The process of being with a woman for 50 years or a woman that you're dating is pretty much the same. For us, it's just science. Because we know the patterns, we know the solutions. It's not that complicated. You have to make a commitment for yourself. That's what it means to be in Soul Seducer program. That's what it means to work with me directly. So that you can learn to handle your emotions, so you can learn to see right into a woman's soul and seduce her from within, to create this garden that she can actually thrive in. We'll get you to that place where you make the right decision for you and your children. There's no secret that men think differently about communication than women. For a man, when I communicate, he's going to come through logic. He's going to be direct. He's going to say exactly what he's feeling. There's typically only going to be one motion going on at any point in time, so he can articulate this very clearly. The problem that happens is typically when he says this, he's not thinking about how it's going to be taken on the other side. For guys, when we hear this, when we talk to each other, we're not worried about it. We're not trying to think of an ulterior motive or why a guy's saying a certain thing. We just say, yeah, he said this, and that's what he means. We take it at face value. We're not trying to read between the lines, because as men, we're not trying to hide or obfuscate what we're trying to say. We just are very direct. This is what's happening. And so then we say it. And so for a lot of women, I'd say most, if not all women, they have to learn that this is the communication style that men have, and they appreciate direct, concise clarity. But women are often thinking that guys don't want to hear it that way, or they don't understand because they are projecting onto them that they want to have their communication style. So in other words, what I'm trying to say is that as a guy, he wants direct and clear communication with logic and facts. And then he says this, and he expects her to respond to him in the same manner. And then from her perspective, she's not trying to tell you directly. Oftentimes, she's afraid to tell you the truth of what's happening, or she's emotionally overwhelmed by all the thoughts and feelings of what's happening. It'll take a while for her to unpack it to give you one solution. And so what she'll do is she'll talk analogously about what's happening, or she'll tell you through the filter of her feelings. And then the guy feels like he has to decipher. But for another woman, she's also sitting here, she's listening to this, and she's feeling what this woman is saying. And so through her feeling of what this woman is saying, she now comes to the same conclusion as the woman talking to her. So it makes sense to them. And so women want men to do the same thing for them. And they get very frustrated. She's saying all these things, but he can't feel her. She's saying all these things, but he's not getting it. He's not understanding. And so from her perspective, she's like, he doesn't care about me at all. He can't feel what I'm trying to express to him. And then from his perspective, he's like, I don't understand what she's saying logically. Like, I'm trying to think about it, but I don't understand what's happening. And so for both sexes, they tend to be piss poor communicators for the other sex. They're great for the same sex. They can say exactly what they need to say. But for each other, they're just terrible at it. And so for the guy, he must learn to feel what's coming out of her. And then for her, she needs to learn to speak plainly and directly and not let fear stop her from telling the truth. And communication doesn't mean more talking. You can have a lot of communication just with your body language, just with the silence that you have, and just with the tonality of your voice. But most people think you got to talk more. And this is where you get into these issues with the relationship. They'll always say communication is the problem. Communication generally isn't the problem in a relationship. Communication is a symptom of some fundamental failure that's happening in the dynamic. Now we have to talk about this shit because it's broken. Oftentimes we can identify what the problem is before we even have to talk about it, and then it just fixes itself. And then if you do it right, your wife will say, oh shit, he is a mind reader. And truthfully, she might only have 3 issues that she ever deals with. And then you're like, okay, she's dealing with this again. And then you just learn how to deal with that, and it just seems to universally solve all the issues with her. Oftentimes when a guy is communicating, he'll go for 1 or 2 frames. He'll be this robot, which guys are generally this place of logic. And so the woman's emotionality will be too much for him. And so he'll just check out. And he'll just present himself in this place of logic land. And in logic land, he doesn't have to engage with her emotions. It's safe. Oftentimes guys do this with themselves. Let me just figure out the solution. I don't need to feel. Let me just logically figure it out and then go fix the problem, and then I'll go from there. And then from her perspective, she's like, he doesn't feel me at all. He doesn't understand anything that I'm saying. And he can't, because he's in this land of logic. He can't understand what she's saying because he's cut off his ability to intuitively figure it out. He can't feel where she's coming from because he feels like a robot to her. And then what ends up happening is now he tries to fix all of her problems. She'll come up to him and she'll have some emotion and she'll complain about it, and he'll say, uh-oh, anger, sadness, frustration is bad. Let's fix it and get her back to normal. And from her perspective, she's just like, he's just trying to fix my problems, which means that he doesn't really want to hear what I have to say. He just wants me to shut the fuck up. He just does not want me to have these emotions. He just wants me to be this robotic guy just like him. He does not care what's going on with me at all, because he's unwilling to engage and really be in this emotional dynamic with me so that he can actually see what's happening and not take all this shit personally. It's not about him. It's about me having these emotions. Why can't he just allow me to have these emotions and be in this space and just chill with me so he can understand where I'm at, so we can come together as a partnership? And so this dynamic happens over and over and over again, and the guy says, I don't know what's going on. And then she starts to get more amped up in her emotionality to try to break through his robotic stance. And this is where the guy will flip from being a robot to being reactive. And when he becomes reactive, he's like, fuck this. And then he just gets angry and frustrated. And then now she gets angry and frustrated because now that she broke it open, she can actually feel the guy. It's better than nothing. Heck, even kids will take negative attention a lot of times than no attention at all. Now she's like, I don't feel safe with this guy. He just blew up. I don't understand what's going on. He's completely frustrated. He just has no idea where we're going or how to even get there, why she's frustrated or any of this stuff, because he doesn't really live in that land of really trying to convey communication through emotion. So this is the place where the woman will say, I don't feel seen, heard, or understood. Or this place of, I don't feel emotionally safe to tell him what's really going on with me because he'll just blow up or he'll freak out. And she usually doesn't know when this is coming because he holds it in, he holds it in, he holds it in, and just vomits it out, which leads to this place where people weaponize their words. So for the guy, clarity is the trait you want to create. You want to create clarity. You want to be able to not be reactive to what she's saying, yet you don't want to be robotic and not be able to tap into how she's feeling. And then from her perspective, she needs to learn to become a lot more clear in her language. How can I be more direct? How can I actually say the thing that I'm afraid to say and be okay with the consequences of him not being okay with it? Her being more clear and more concise, thinking for a minute about how this is going to be taken, thinking for a minute what's really going on with it and her, and then actually expressing it will do massive wonders. He'll be able to fill in the lines from that point. And from his perspective, learning to engage with her from some level of being able to feel, but also not being so wrapped up into it where she starts leading the chaos forward. And so he's in this place that's very present. He's in this place that's very strong. He's in this place where he can feel her, and because he can feel her, she can feel him feeling her. And then he's not getting reactive to it, even though he can feel the emotions happening in his body, because he's not hiding from him anymore. He's not locking him down. He's not living in logic land. He can feel what's going on through her empathetically. But he also has the emotional resiliency to not get swept up in her storm no matter what the storm is. He's unshakable. Unshakable but feeling. Now she's like, he hears me, he understands what's happening. And when a guy is unshakable, he can actually think clearly. When you get caught up in your woman's emotions, then the frontal lobe starts to go into fight or flight response, and you start losing some blood there, and which means you lose intelligence. And you know this is the case. Last time your woman jumped your case, you were like, I don't know, and you kind of lock up. And then like an hour later, like, I should have said this. Well, yeah, that's because your brain came back online like a little bit later when you got out of the situation. And so training your nervous system to handle the storm that she may bring is absolutely essential. What's also absolutely essential is actually being and committing to a woman who can actually communicate with you effectively. Too many times in society, we tell women that we want to hear how she is. We want her opinion. We want to affirm how she is. And she takes the liberty of this and in an entitled attitude says, okay, well, here's all of the crap that I have within me, unfiltered. And then she'll come back and say, if you can't handle me at my worst, you don't get me at my best. And I'm saying, well, why don't you manage your worst so that we want to be there for your best? Your emotionality is your thing to figure out. It is not for a man to solve it for you. And most women will come in here to the relationship and say, well, I'm feeling this way and he needs to hear all of it. That's cool, but you have to put it in a way that he wants to hear it. You have to put it in a way that is not condescending, you're not belittling him, you're not name calling him, no bad tone of voice. You can't shame him or guilt him or emasculate him because you'll shut him down. And when you shut a man down like this too many times, he'll just check out and he'll just disappear from you. And the guy that you wanted to be present with you will just be completely absent. He'll say, I'll just go work more. I'll just spend more time with the kids. I just won't deal with you because it's too much. And this is the consequence of throwing your emotionality out there with no responsibility. And so for the guy, him being in the family and not actually being present, being in Logic Land or in his phone worrying about business and everything else, and not actually being with his family is the problem. The guy who is emotionally unhinged, who cannot handle his business, if he gets into a depression, he can't manage himself, and he's looking for his wife to boost him up and make him feel better about himself, that's him not taking responsibility as well. And so both partners have to come to the table in this way and become better at actually conveying what they need. Not sit here behind this whole place, I'm going to guilt and shame or play games or cold shoulder, hope that the other person will get it. If you're in a place where you're ever hoping your wife will get it, or you're in a place where you're hoping your husband will just get it, you're in the wrong. Clear as day, you are in the wrong. It is your job and your duty to articulate clearly what is going on with you, and if the other person can't understand it, then you have to find another way to articulate it. If the other person is fully on board, then that's the game. And people say marriages are hard. They aren't hard. Marriage is only hard for people who cannot articulate properly what's going on and who don't give a fuck about what's happening on the other side. For the other ones, super easy. My marriage is super, super, super simple and easy. Why? Because we figured out this shit. We're not getting into all these things. Like my wife stops for a moment. She thinks about what needs to be said. She looks at the root of what's happening within her. She's trained herself to look deep within, like what's the real situation here? And it might take her 5-10 minutes, and then she'll articulate it. And she'll be silent during this time while she processes. Then on my end, if she does get upset or frustrated, I'm not going to go into robot or reactive. I'm going to sit here and be fully present with her and feel what's going on. I'm going to ask some pertinent questions to help her unpack what this is. So there's no point in time that I'm ever just going to blank out because I care about her. She's important to me. And I don't have to worry about boundary issues because I have a woman that is actually very caring and loving, and so she's not going to try to mess with the boundaries. Why would she do that? That's ridiculous. Why would anybody try to take advantage of your other partner that way? Being in a good relationship means it's about giving, it's about love. And so if you can't live for the highest order of love and you're trying to take from your partner, you're trying to chase infatuation and chase sex all the time, then you're not actually connecting with the person on the other side. And because of that, you will never join as one. And so hopefully, brother, I hope this video has helped you. If you feel like this might help somebody else, share it with them. If you want to check out Soul Seduce and learn how to do all of these things I'm talking about, check it out in the description below. And I'll see you in the next video.